2020 at 2:00 p.m. This meeting has been conducted virtually, and so I will go ahead and call the roll to begin the meeting for each person. So Mayor Roseworski, I am here. Mayor Dennis of West Lafayette. Note says we'll try, so I'm not sure, maybe John didn't make it. Kevin Underwood. Commissioner Tracy Brown.
Here.
Jackson Bogan.
Here.
Ron Campbell.
Here.
Peter Bunder.
Here.
Here are Cindy Murray.
Here.
Mike Gibson.
Here.
Shane Spears.
I am here.
All right. So we've got a quorum present. And, all right, that's everybody else I need to call from that end. All right, so we'll move to the agenda. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the April 27th, 2020 and the May 14th, 2020 meeting.
I move those minutes be approved as communicated.
And I second Mike Gibson.
Okay, we have Ron Campbell made the motion. Mike Gibson was the second. Any discussion, changes, or Scribner's errors? Hearing none, I'll conduct a roll call vote. Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Jackson Bogan.
Aye.
Ron Campbell.
Aye.
Peter Bunder.
Aye.
Cindy Murray.
Aye.
Mike Gibson.
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2020-03, resolution to amend the 2020 through 2024 Transportation Improvement Program. And we have two items on the agenda there. And who will be handling those, Sally?
That'll be Doug.
All right, Doug, you're up.
Good afternoon. For this request to amend the TIP, we have Tippecanoe County requesting programming of a bridge replacement project that is located on Old US 231 between Veterans Memorial and McCutcheon High School. The county has received Group 4 funding for this project, which they will use for construction, engineering, and construction. The anticipated year that will occur is this amendment request is from City Bus. This is basically a standard request that we usually do once a year, in that they revisit their operating capital and planning projects and tweak it. They are proposing to make changes to operating capital and planning projects. To begin with, for operating assistance, they are planning to use more federal funds than anticipated, approximately 1.1 million, and reduced their local match. For capital projects, they are looking to reduce the funding for one project that is programmed, and that's the city bus replacement. And they are looking to replace 2 full-size buses rather than 3. The other project that's in the TIP that they will be changing will be a support vehicle, and the cost of that is going up, and that reflects the recent purchase that was done. For additional pedestrian and bicycle system that they will be installing in the buses. For planning projects, they are adding two. One is to hire an engineering company to do the plans to increase the size of their CNG fueling station. And the second is to do phase 2 of their strategic plan. In addition to that, we also have another project that will be added to the TIP, and this project is route planning software. This project will not use Federal Transit Administration funds, but will be using flexed STBG funds. These are the residual balance of funds that will be flexed over to the bus company. Approximately $36,000 will go to that project. The Board of Directors did review and approve these projects, and the Technical Transportation Committee reviewed this request at last month's meeting and recommended approval. Are there any questions?
All right, does anyone have any questions for Doug over the amendment to the 2024 Transportation Improvement Program? Sounds like a lot of good things there. So, all right, with that, we will take a roll call vote. Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Jackson Bogan.
Aye.
Ron Campbell.
Aye.
Peter Bunder.
Aye.
Cindy Murray.
Aye.
Mike Gibson.
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Doug, for that explanation.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
this is Sally. Let's take a minute and see if there's any public comment.
Time we'll take a moment to allow to make sure, see if we have any public comment. Let the record reflect.
I'll let you know when we checked. Okay, no public comment came in on YouTube or Facebook.
Okay, thank you for that. Let the record reflect we received no public comment. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2020-04, resolution to amend the 2024 Transportation Improvement Program. Doug, you going to be doing that again?
Yes. This is a request from the district office. There is one project in the TIP that they will be adding the preliminary engineering phase to that, specifically using federal funds. And that is a project located on State Road 38, and it's an ADA ramp project. The other projects are all new. 9 of the new projects are all related to bridge maintenance, and they are located on State Road 25, 38, 52, 231. The years of construction vary from fiscal year 2022 through 2024. One of the new projects is an asphalt preventative maintenance project on US 231, which is south of State Road 28. Construction is targeted for 2024. One project is a district-wide signal maintenance project, and we have one signal here in Tippecanoe County. Beginning on County Road 100 West in northern Tippecanoe County, and that extends all the way to 24. This project is intended to reduce the number of times crews will need to plow the interstate, and also the number of crashes that occur due to the blowing snow. Construction is targeted to begin in 2022. The last project is one which I'm really excited to hear, and that is widening another portion of I-65. And this portion begins project on the Wabash River bridges and will extend the widening to approximately 1 mile north of State Road 43. This project will be a design build project with and recommended approval. Any questions?
Have any questions for Doug? Sally, do you want to take a moment after each one of these to check for public comment? Is that the process you'd like me to follow?
Just on the tip amendments.
Okay. All right. Tim, would you check to see if since the last time you checked, if we've received any public comment on this tip amendment, the second one here?
We have not.
Okay, let the record reflect we checked and we have not received any public comment on this second tip amendment. All right, if there are no questions for Doug and there's no public comment, I will conduct a roll call vote. Tracy Brown.
Aye.
Jackson Bogan.
Aye.
Ron Campbell.
Aye.
Peter Bunder.
Aye.
Cindy Murray.
Aye.
Mike Gibson.
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
Okay. The motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, looks like the next item on the agenda is the APC Progress Report. We have the MPO update, and then Sally had sent today a couple additional items that she would like to add to that agenda, a transfer of a balance from some 2020 funds to the city bus shelter project as a TIP administrative modification, and then a couple other modifications and some additional information. So Sally, I'll turn it over to you to cover those for us.
Thank you. The second tip mod that I signed was today, and this is the one that takes the balance of our fiscal year 2020 money and moves it to the transit side so that City Bus can use $104,198 on the to expand the City Bus shelter and sidewalk program. And you will see in the future there will be we will be doing a letter once this is has passed and you've been notified. We'll be doing a letter that actually transfers that money within the transit section of NDOT. So that would be the last step on that project. And then the TIP amendment that you just authorized takes the last of that money that we had not spent and moves it to that project for the City Bus software.
Okay. Well, as you know, our rules require that Sally brings those to our attention. We don't have any, we don't formally vote on those, but I would entertain any questions that the board had for Sally on those tip modifications. All right, hearing none, Sally, please continue.
Okay, the next thing I wanted to hold their two-day conference virtually. And what I have for you today is hot off the press information about the new, newly released transportation bill reauthorizations. Mostly I'm going to talk about the bill that's come out of the House because that's the one that I know the most about. There is also a bill that's coming out of the Senate. The Senate bill was created in a little more bipartisan way. The House bill that I'm mostly going to talk about was pretty, well, I guess you can say exclusively partisan. The House bill is called Invest in America Act. It stands for Investing in a New Vision for the Environment and Surface Transportation. It really has two parts. Part one is really just a one-year extension of the FAST Act, which is the act that we're currently under. There is some additional funding for STBG and administration. Some of that actually, if it survives, may be at 100% without a local match. Part two of the bill is actually the reauthorization, and instead of either 5 or 6 years, which it should be, is really only 4 years. They do something that makes us that have been in the business a long time chuckle, which is this new terminology, STBG, which is Surface Transportation Block Grants. They're proposing it go back to the old title, Surface Transportation Program. There is, this bill does significantly increase the STB funds, and it also significantly increases the planning money for MPOs. That's the good part of it. The more, not necessarily concerning, but in return for that additional money, there comes with it a requirement for a lot more rigor on the planning side. Includes some new performance measures that will have to be met. The House bill includes $494 billion over the 5-year period. Only 4 years of that is new policy. And the new performance measures would be in the areas of transportation accessibility and climate. So that was the overview that we received of the new bill. Whether it will survive in conference with the Senate is anybody's guess at this point, but at least both the House and the Senate are working on new reauthorization bills.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Sally under the MPO update? All right, thank you. Doug, 18-month letting list.
As you can see in the packet, the 18-month letting list grew substantially. And if you look at all of the new projects indicated with the shaded N, you will see that they are all NDOT projects. And if you looked at those, they pretty much deal with maintenance, which is good news in that keeping up with the additional maintenance and actually doing a lot more. The only other really changes to the 18-month letting list, one are the bid letting results. It shows projects 1 and 2 are on State Road 225. Those are bridge deck overlays, and those two projects were awarded to Milestone for a little over or almost $2.5 million. I did list another project, district-wide project. This is a project that does include some bridges within Tippecanoe County. Specifically, that DES number does show up in our TIP, and we will be looking at a TIP amendment that deals with this project next month. The only other thing I'd like to point out is project 44 on the the second page, I-65, a concrete pavement restoration project. When I was looking at the 18-month letting list, that project did not show. And that's pretty much all I have. Any questions?
All right, any questions for Doug?
Doug, what do you mean that project did not show?
I'm sorry, I did not hear that.
What do you mean that project did not show?
Well, when I download the list from the INDOT website, it was not included in that list. So for information, just to let everyone know that that project was missing, I indicated as not listed, just to make aware of this committee and then the technical committee that in previous 18 months letting list, that project was listed, but now it is no longer listed.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the monthly progress report. Doug, you gonna handle that?
Sure, I'd be more than glad to. The report that was in the packet is similar to those that we have done in the past. The top portion lists all of the funds that have been obligated officially through INDOT, and as you should see, it's a fairly extensive list. The table that is below that is a summary, kind of give you where we stand. There were some differences between funding types between two projects, and when I asked
on D7 to D5,
their response was that they obligated certain funds before they do others. That, in other words, don't worry about it. We're on track. Our numbers match, so there really is no issue with that. The only other minor information is that you will see balances for several projects. These are the funds that will be transferred to City Bus for the two projects, as Sally mentioned earlier in the meeting. And hoping either by today or tomorrow, we will have that completed. Questions?
Great. Any questions for Doug on that? All right, quarterly reports, quarterly progress report summary.
This will be Tim.
Okay, Tim, thank you. Go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm not going to go over every quarterly project report. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights from our meeting, our technical committee meeting last month. So starting with Tippecanoe County, the Klondike Road project has had a cost increase of about $90,000, and that increase is due to some change orders that came in. Moving on to Lindberg Road, that project is going to require some federal funding for coordination with the KB&S Railroad. An agreement is in place with them, and that funding will be used before the end of this calendar year. North River Road has reopened. NDOT has signed off on final closeout for that. So I believe this will probably be the last time that that project appears in the reports. River Road at County Road 500 North, that project had a delay in the purchase of right-of-way, and that was because a couple of parcels went to condemnation. So that kind of put a month or two delay in that process. Concord at County Road 430 South, that project is almost done. It's close to receiving final field check acceptance. So that's probably going to drop off in a quarter or two. Moving on to Morehouse Road, this project may have to be split into multiple construction phases, and whether or not it will just depend on the construction costs that we get, which we'll know a little bit down the road. So moving on to Lafayette, the biggest news item for them was that the Park East Boulevard project had some issues with the purpose and need statement in the environmental document. However, our staff was able to get on a conference call with Lafayette City Engineering, And I believe that's mostly worked out. I'm going to kick it over to Doug and Sally if they want to make any comments about that. I wasn't on the call, so.
The issue for Jeremy was that the consulting firm that was working on the environmental was having, was getting concerns from INDOT reviewers for the environmental and whether or not this one section of the project had independent utility. Doug and I had a conversation with that INDOT reviewer and explained the project from 26 all the way to 38 in more detail. And I think Jeremy can tell us, but I'm pretty sure that that's moving ahead again now. I think the takeaway from this issue is that we all, especially LPAs, need to be on top of what their consulting firms are submitting to INDOT and making sure that they're giving them enough information to allow an appropriate review to occur and the project to continue to move forward.
All right, so that was the big one for Lafayette. For West Lafayette, a couple projects were closed out, mostly closed out, I should say. Cherry Lane Extension project, that's almost complete. Same with Happy Hollow Neighborhood Trail project. That one's a little farther. It does have a PO that needs to be closed out, but hopefully we should be getting pretty close to seeing those projects off of the list so we can move on to the next things. Are there any questions that anyone has?
All right, any questions for Tim? All right, thank you, Tim. Doug, appreciate those reports and that additional information. At this time, we go into other business. Is there anything under other business?
I don't have any, Mayor.
Okay. Any board members? All right, now we're at the citizens comment phase. Tim, would you go ahead and recheck email or Facebook or your means there and see if we have received any citizen comment now during the meeting that needs to be communicated?
Not yet, but there is a little bit of lag time. So with your indulgence, we'll wait maybe 30 seconds longer to see if anything comes in.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, I think we're at that mark.
All right, at this time, we have not received any public comment, so we will move. I would entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, did we get the names, Sally, okay?
I think it was Mike Gibson, right?
Mike Gibson for the second.
I move to adjourn.
Oh,
That was
Ron
Mr.
Campbell.
Okay. All right, we'll move to adjourn. Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Jackson Bogan,
Aye.
Ron Campbell,
Aye.
Peter Bunder,
Aye.
Cindy Murray,
Aye.
Mike Gibson,
Aye.
Shane Spears.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.